back to my channel. Today we're going to be making a vegan Christmas cake, so stay tuned and let's put it all together.
We'll leave the ingredients and recipe down in the description box, so make sure to check that out. What we're firstly going to do is turn our oven on to 140 degrees Celsius or gas bar 1 and get that preheated. Then we're going to, in a bowl, whisk together the dairy-free butter, light and dark brown sugar and the treacle. Unfortunately in this video I didn't put my treacle in, but this is a stage you want to do it, along with our lemon and orange zest. So what we're going to do is give that a whisk up just to make sure that's all nice and incorporated, and you want your butter to be nice and fluffy and the sugar to have dissolved in, so it doesn't want to be grainy, you want it to be nice and smooth.
Snow and cold, we've got it nice and warm. In here you'll find both young and old, seeking shelter from the storm. It's the spirit of the season to open up the door. It's the spirit of the season
my sieve over the top and pop in my plain flour, ground almonds, bicarbonate of soda, mixed spice, cinnamon, nutmeg. Give that a good shake. What you might find is that your almonds might need a little push with a spoon to get them through. If there are any bits sort of left over, I do add these in at the end. As long as you don't have obviously massive clumps of it, it does make it a bit of a nicer cake. The dry ingredients are in is adding our non-dairy milk and the lemon juice that I'm using, or you could use vinegar at this stage, and then give it a mix. So it will be quite thick. Just be careful with this one, don't try and make it really thin. This is a really thick batter. Half the fruit in and giving it a stir, and then put the second half of the fruit in and the almonds. I do find this just helps incorporate it a little bit easier, so you've not got a massive fruit in your bowl and no room to stir it. So make sure that's evenly stirred through, and don't worry, like I say, the batter is quite thick, so as long as all the fruit's got a bit of cake mixture coating it, that's fantastic.
Let's rate it. Let's rate it across the land.
Last year I thought about how things can come around just like that if everyone is here to celebrate one day. We have our ups and downs, but when there's love there's always a way. And oh, this time of year we come together to celebrate. Yes, every time the snow is falling down and it is cold outside, we gather around the fireplace and no one cares about yesterday. My favorite holiday, it means so much more than words can say. And I claim that Christmas is a magic day. Sometimes I tend to forget what glory this holiday.
Now I'm going to add my cake mixture into my prepared tin. So I have a 7-inch round deep tin here, and what I've done is lined it with some reusable liners. I will insert a picture now of the reusable liners. I also have added in some cake release. I've added the round one at the bottom, one around the inside of the cake, and also one around the outside of the cake. Because this cake does bake for a while, I just wanted to add one around the outside to make sure that it doesn't burn. Alternatively, you can use greaseproof paper, but as I said before, I am trying to cut down a little bit on what I'm using, so anything for a reusable one that can be washed and used again for something else is obviously better for me and the environment. So we're going to pour our mix into the tin and even the top off. This is, like I say, quite a dense cake, so it's not going to massively spring up. You will get a bit of rise from it, obviously from the bicarbonate of soda, but it will actually stay pretty flat, so you want to level the top off as best as you can.
About how I'm so lucky to have a place that I can come home to. Yes, I am on my way. We'll put our differences aside and just enjoy this moment of peace and love and happiness. We come together to celebrate. Yes, every time the snow.
Then pop our cake into the oven, and because this is a quite a heavy cake, it does actually take a while to bake, so it's on average between 2 to 3 hours, so you want to do this when you've got a bit of time on your hands. Now my cake, because I've got a fan assisted oven, took just over 2 hours, and the way that I checked this was to use a cocktail stick or a skewer just to poke into the cake and make sure that there's no batter comes out on it. If it does come out clean, your cake is cooked and you can leave the cake to cool. If your cake doesn't actually come out clean at that stage, what you want to do is just keep it in for an extra 15 minutes. So set yourself a timer for 15 minutes, leave your cake in the oven at the same 140 degrees or gas mark 1, and then pop back and check your cake after that 15 minutes is up. So you want to do it in stages rather than add it for another half an hour and end up with a burnt cake. That'd be no good, and obviously unfortunately a bit of a waste. Once your cake is fully baked, you want to take it out your oven and pop it onto a wire rack to cool down completely. We're not going to mess about with this at all because unfortunately I did try and tip a cake out too early that wasn't completely cooled, and that will be coming in the bloopers video, so make sure you stay tuned to the end to see that. So this cake actually cooled completely overnight and the next day, and then I turned it out, so it had a while to set up in the pan just to make sure there were no more catastrophes. So once your cake is completely cool to the touch, you want to turn it out the pan and remove all the parchment from the pan and leave that upside down, so that's the way that you actually get a nice flat top, is to turn your cake upside down. What we're going to do is poke a load of holes in this cake with a skewer. Now it might seem a bit mean, but this is so that the alcohol that we're going to feed the cake with will actually absorb into the cake. And that's what's going to give us that nice Christmas flavour when we're eating a lovely piece of cake with some spirit in there. And we're going to make sure that that cake goes into some parchment paper and some foil. I actually store mine in a tub. I also store it with the tub lid down and put my tub on top. Hope that makes sense, but you can see here. The reason I do that is because I find it easier to actually get it out that way. I also find it easier that way, so when I come to feed the cake, I can literally lift the bottom of what would be the sweetie tub off of the cake and pour my alcohol over the top and leave it off for the cake to actually absorb. And then once that's done, before I go to bed that evening, I'll pop the tub back onto the lid and that's my cake all airtight again. If you do have a mishap like myself and your cake doesn't quite go to plan, don't be tempted in frustration to get rid of it. It does make a really yummy treat. It'd be great with some custard or some double cream or ice cream, or you can actually make something like an ice cream or a fudge. I made some fudge and popped some Christmas cake in this, so that was well received just lately. But just make something of it. So obviously it doesn't have to go into the bin. It is yummy, and I'm sure you will find lots of friends and family who will gladly accept bits of cake off of you, even if it isn't in its best form and stuck all together.
It's falling down, and it is cold outside. We gather around the fireplace, and no one cares about yesterday. My favorite holiday. It means so much more than words can say. And I claim that Christmas is a magic day. Sometimes I tend to forget what glory this holiday represents. But it's fair to say that Christmas is a magic day.
So that's my finished vegan Christmas cake. It looks and smells delicious and I can't wait to be tucking into it this year. And do continue watching just till the end because there is some bloopers with this one. This is Christmas cake number 2 and I'm off to go and feed that. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of amaretto over the top. Do that every couple of days, and then once I'm happy that it's been fed nice and moist, I'm going to cover it in vegan marzipan and icing and decorate it nicely. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Do please give it a big like if you did. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell notification to make sure you're tuned in for more good stuff that's going to come your way. See you soon. Bye.